Day 2 of the Rocket League Championship Series Fall Major driven by Ford. The loser going to be 0-2 in the Swiss. Let's find out who it's going to be.
Well, everybody's been ripping on North America after their performance yesterday, and you got to say fair enough. But here are two teams, Turtle, not Stumpy, from EU, that haven't exactly covered themselves in glory so far.
I mean, I think North America, they deserve a lot of the shade getting thrown their way, right?
Great.
They've earned it so far in the first day. But with both of these teams here, Cole, it's been rough, to say the least. We've got Endpoint coming in on the blue side. They took 41 shots in their previous matchup, and they scored 2 goals. 2 goals on 41 shots.
Well, against the best defense in the world, surely.
Yeah, CJ. Sitting there in the back. The best defense in the world, I'd have to agree, but that's still abysmal shooting accuracy. Meanwhile, Vitality, they look so flat against FaZe Clan, and while it was FaZe Clan, it wasn't the best. And Alpha 54, he's going to shut me up with the first goal here. And we can even hear them screaming a little bit in the middle.
I mean, they shut you up, but they certainly didn't shut themselves up. They are absolutely loving what is a free goal. What I would say is Seiko's 3rd goal of the event. Because, I mean, you mentioned Endpoint's shooting accuracy. Seiko, of all players, he was on 5% against Renegades. And I mean, there's obviously going to be LAN jitters, there's going to be struggles early doors, but that is not the Seiko that we have seen throughout the entirety of this season. The man who has brought Endpoint, not single-handedly, but has been the real, important man, taking them to 2 of these regionals so far. I mean, look at the pressure that Vitality have. On the desk, they were saying that Vitality are going to step up at the risk of going 0-2. It's looking like that so far.
Absolutely. I mean, Seiko, he needs to step up. That's why they picked this player up. We had a lot of interviews during the online season, and Relating Wave, I remember specifically said, hey, we picked up Seiko for the mechanics, for this man to pop off. He was doing that online. It got him 2 regionals, but he's going to need to step it up a little bit. There he was off the crossbar, almost found himself the first goal for Endpoint, but it's a little wide.
That's better, though, from Endpoint. They're starting to get involved in this first game. They need to start off a little bit better. They just have to get something going in the LAN environment, which doesn't seem to be happening for them. So any decent strike, any passing play, any ball that falls to one of them in the middle could be so important. That one hits the post from Metanorus, and then Seiko can't get round it either. But Endpoint definitely showing their strength now.
And it's an interesting matchup here between these 2 European teams. As that pass into the midfield was lovely. You could see everything was planned out. The pass, the execution even was on point. But fortunately enough, if you're a Vitality fan, the defense looking good so far in Game 1.
I mean, Vitality normally so happy to defend for minutes at a time. It's how they made their series yesterday against FaZe even respectable. There was a clear mechanical disparity between the 2, but they kept FaZe honest. You know, they kept them to maybe 3 goals, I think, in the first game, but apart from that, not too many on the scoreboard against a FaZe clan that's looking really strong. NA's big hope, and we're seeing now why Vitality was so tough to beat for them. But Endpoint are coming forward again. Have had a few good looks already in this first game. Had about a minute or so of pressure, and when we're in the online era, back in the regionals, that's the Endpoint that we would see for entire games.
Yeah, absolute onslaught on offense and very patient play from Endpoint. They're very spread out. If you look at statistically throughout the fall split, they were spaced out on the field so much more than any other team compared to literally anybody in Europe. They like to be far away from the ball and far away from each other. There's Relating Wave to put one in and get Endpoint's first goal.
I will never get tired of hearing those roars. When a team scores, you're like, that's what you want to hear, them getting into it. Endpoint after such a slow start. That sounded to me like the release of pressure.
Absolutely.
You know, you have a shocker yesterday. There's no other word for it. You come into this first game against Team Vitality, you start off slow with an own goal, then you get the equalizer, suddenly you begin to believe again. That's such an important goal.
And it's the mentality of Endpoint that I want to highlight on and how spectacular it is. We saw it during timeouts throughout the online play that they would get up stretch. Their viewpoint, their perspective on the game is fantastic. A lot of work there being done by the coach Eclipse, making sure that they're staying calm, collected. A save there from Endpoint on the goal line.
Save.
Lovely pre-jump, and we're all tied up.
Yeah, it's a great save there from Seiko, but Vitality got to carry on going. It's Fairy Peak trying to take it around the corner. Relating Wave, as always, wants to be as involved as possible and gets his car in the way, but that's poor from Metanorus. Alpha comes in with a potential pass to Fairy Peak, but Seiko got the read, and that is what Endpoint do so well. This transition game, it gives Seiko a 1v1 chance, and Seiko puts it away.
And a very strange 50-50 as we take another look at this one. He hit it down the field. Oh, the pass there from Metanaris to get it into the midfield. And Seiko just kept that ball on the ground, didn't decide to go up for a flick. A lot of times you see players in that situation, they want to catch it on the top of their car so they can get a powerful flick in. But Seiko, he does the opposite, keeps it low, and wins the 50.
Minute and 30 seconds left for Vitality to now get themselves back into this one. Alpha over the top of Metanaris. There's Cade up there. Oh, Vitality, the best one pre-jumping from yesterday, but what a save that was at the near post.
And Vitality looked good on offense. I mean, I don't want to discredit them. We've been talking a lot about Endpoint, but when Vitality do get the chances, they're ready to strike. Another 50-50 there in the midfield, looking to start some offense, but then the double commit comes out from Vitality, and it's kind of scary.
It was half a double commit. I think there were good comms after one of the players had already jumped, so K-Dot could get it away clearly. So they're still on point. They're still talking a Team Vitality, knowing that the last minute's coming up. They're going to have to up the pace just a little bit because Endpoint are playing much more like their former selves. Look at Metanaris doing what he's been doing his whole career, just getting in the way, making it as difficult as possible for Team Vitality to get themselves a chance. And this is what it leads to. It leads to more pressure on Team Vitality's goal. Relating Wave, just with a jab towards the Vitality net, was never going to go in, but it wastes so much more time.
Oh, and it wastes so much boost as well. If you're throwing a shot towards the net, you're forcing Vitality to jump. And Alpha 54, making it look like Vitality 54 on the field.
Look at that, Relating Wave. His clearance was too close to K-Dop, but look at the perfection of that pass. Then the intelligence of the finish as well. There was a lot of goal to aim for, but not a lot of goal where that would have gone in. Alpha picked the perfect spot.
It's quite surprising, too, to see that Alpha went for the early shot. He was very, very far out from that goal. Recognized that the defense wasn't in a prime spot. The rotation was coming out a little bit slow from Endpoint, and an early shot in the midfield. If you've got the power and the accuracy, it doesn't matter. You're going to get that goal.
Well, what a first game this is. The first same regional matchup of the full major. It's going to be Seiko. He's going to boom it long. Do we have a pre-jump here from Relating Wave? We do, but Alpha's read it so quickly. And look at the transition from Alpha as well, to bounce off the ceiling just to keep himself in the play, the recovery speed from Team Vitality's Mechanical Maestro. That's a brilliance there. It looks like we're going to be heading towards overtime. What a first game, Turf.
Oh, it's just been everything I'd expect so far. I mean, we were kind of roasting them at the beginning, talking about, Europe isn't performing, but you could tell the jitters, the nervousness, it's all out the way. They look flawless so far on the pitch.
Yeah, you're completely right. In attack, both of these teams showing so much teeth. Just that they're going to be able to get in the faces of their opponents. They'll also have to get some decent defending there. Looks a bit scary for a second, but Endpoint got it away.
I mean, maybe they're just comfortable right now with each other. They're used to playing against, obviously, European teams. This isn't an odd or peculiar matchup, so that could definitely add a lot to the emotion and nerves on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. And going forwards, having this chance to come up against a team, a foe that you're used to, as you say, could help going up against new teams. Here's Seiko from the ceiling. Relating Wave's coming in to help. Now it's Metanaris, just sending that one high. Trust that his teammate has boost. He does. The shot won't go too far. It's saved by Alpha towards Fairy Peak.
Oh, he's got a lot of space.
All three of them there. Kado with the early flick. Was that the right decision?
Absolutely not. You saw all that space, and the defender didn't even creep out of the net. You'd think K-Dop, of all players, especially on land, had the awareness to wait and be a bit more patient, but the early flick just gives away possession with no hesitation.
What it was, though, is a sign that Team Vitality could be so dangerous on this counter-attack. And even though Endpoint are keeping the ball in their half, Vitality, at this point, the way it's looking, won't mind that too much, especially with Alpha close down Relating Wave. But that's so good! That's all Relating Wave, but it's Seiko with the goal.
This follow-up from Relating Wave in the midfield. He beat out one defender. I don't even know if that was planned. To be honest, the way that 50-50 went, I don't think I saw 1 ounce of boost used from Relating Wave, just in the right spot at the right time, got the follow-up off the backboard, and that's how you end out a first game here, Cole.
I tell you what, who cares if that was intentional, because it looked utterly brilliant from Relating Wave. One of those replays you just can't wait to see, but it all started with Endpoint. They turned it around after going the goal behind.
And Vitality looked good with the midfield. There was a lot of midfield passes actually from both teams where it'd be one player on the sidewall and then hitting into the midfield. And we're going to take another look at that. That is so weird, the way that one bounced off of Relating Wave to then get the follow-up. I don't know if it was planned. I want to ask him, did he rotate his car maybe on purpose, or was it just something that got lucky with the 50?
Perhaps a question for Orb if Endpoint do go on to win this this series. But I mean, Endpoint will be feeling really good after that one. But to be honest, I think Team Vitality will as well. I mean, this was a team that showed more aggression than anything they showed against FaZe yesterday. They seemed more confident. They looked more up for the fight and up for the challenge, because since they last played at a LAN, we talk about K-Dop in particular, his LAN history, but since they last played at any LAN, everybody around them has improved so much exponentially.
Right.
An unbelievable amount. And that was Team Vitality showing that they can really, fight with the newbies.
The firepower is definitely there. Then here comes Alpha 54 doing even more work. And I'm getting reminded a little bit of the NRG match that I casted the other day, or excuse me, yesterday, literally.
Goes quick.
It's been a short few days so far, but it feels like we've been here in eternity. That's what I'm just so excited to be back at LAN and to see your beautiful face.
I know, you're so pretty. Anyway, let's get back to the Rocket League before we compliment each other too much. As Metanoris has a chance to scoop that one towards goal. Seiko's coming in, and the passes are now being pung in towards Seiko.
Right.
He's feeling good. He's looking confident now, and it's good to see.
And that's what they need. I mean, if there's one player you want to have comfortable here, it's going to be Seiko, and there he is trying to get a 50-50, maybe get another lucky one that bounces off your card, goes in, maybe a double tap. Metanoris so aggressive, the 50-50 off the crossbar, bounces down. They don't find a follow-up, but the pressure is surely there for Endpoint.
I mean, Metanoris hasn't scored yet in this series, but I think he's hit the crossbar or the post 2 or 3 times, definitely getting involved in these plays. On the end of passes, but the accuracy not quite there yet. It might be for a relating wave. He goes to the crossbar this time. But 3 Vitality defenders on net.
I was just about to mention that. Everybody from Vitality, they're in the same spot. The rotations even slower to that challenge. You notice that the defender couldn't get up, and then they're forced to get a pre-jump save from Alpha 54 on the goal line. Team Vitality, this has not been the best start for them whatsoever.
It's not, but they're more than comfortable, really, with all 3 of them on that goal line. With most teams, you see them in that position, and you think there's going to be a goal any second. Vitality have made so many saves over the years where you think there can't possibly be
Which
a
makes no
chance.
sense. It makes no sense. There were 3 of them, Cole, in the same exact spot, and then they were late to the rotations and still somehow found a touch.
Still somehow find a touch. Pretty much sums up Vitality better than any other sentence. But Endpoint at the moment, looking a little bit more menacing. They do have to defend now, though. Therapy gets the flip reset. K-Dop's in the center, but Alpha is in the center, but it's just gone over the top of him. Here comes Fairy Peak now on the side. Good touch from Relating Wave, trying to link the play as much as he can. Here is K-Dop up against Metanoris, and the game's just slowed down for a minute or 2.
And what I was trying to compare earlier with this performance so far from Alpha 54 was Squishy's performance yesterday from NRG. It seems like one player in particular for a lot of these rosters is stepping up. We haven't seen the equivalent from everyone else on Vitality, but there come the shouting from Endpoint, getting hype after this one.
If we need a sort of decibel measurer here for some of these shouts,
that would be great.
Because Seiko, this finish here is really getting his Endpoint team back into this one now. It puts him in the lead with 2 minutes and 47 seconds gone. And the thing is, Turtle, he's having so many clear sights of goal, and that worries me.
And the way things work here on LAN as a player, especially if you're offensively minded, you got to do a lot of the heavy lifting on offense. It's just repetition. The more goals you put in, the better you feel. Things will slowly start to progress forward, and you can see how Seiko, the confidence, slowly filling up for him.
Here he is again. I mean, Vitality, you have to say, are letting him have this confidence. Look at him completely unmarked. What happened to the Vitality rotation here? Fairy Peak?
Oh.
Where's Fairy Peak off?
What is that touch from K-Dop, though, at the same time? Was he expecting Fairy Peak to rotate in a little bit early on the corner? It's just weird from Vitality, not sure where each other are, and also not getting the proper touch. And Seiko, if he's feeling confident on the field, slowly, he's just going to start chipping away at your defense.
Well, throughout the entire full split, Endpoint have done one thing really well, and that is punish their opponent's mistakes. If they start to slow down the pace, if they start to offer even the slightest disadvantage, then this Endpoint team can just absolutely ruin them if they try to, and that's what they're doing now. But here's Alpha. That's a better flip reset towards Metanoris. Metanoris clears it away, and look at Relating Wave already on the top. Endpoint's transition must make it impossible to defend.
And I don't think we saw that too much against Renegades, and even if we did see any forward momentum here for Endpoint against Renegades, they weren't finding the shots they are in this matchup against Vitality. You can tell they're more comfortable here, and maybe the confidence of winning 2 regionals online going into this event while the first series was a rough start, maybe now you're starting to see the effects of it.
Team Vitality, though, have got a little bit more involved in the last 30 seconds or so, starting to get some cleaner touches in that blue side of the pitch. Move the ball upwards and want to tackle Seiko immediately. That's what Fairy Peak did there, just being the midfield disruptor, but Relating Wave, the opponent, gets on the other side of the ball as well. Relating Wave up to the ceiling, he follows it up against Fairy Peak. Alpha 54 leaves that one to Fairy Peak. They're just trying to get the ball out of their corner right now, Vitality, and they're trying to rush things, desperate to get the play going. That's a better change of pace from Alpha. It won't lead to any goals for now, but just the fact that he slowed down and faked them there will make Endpoint question.
I'm happy that Vitality are looking for these small touches to each other to keep that pressure and possession moving out of their own half, but it's very slow and predictable, and oftentimes you'll find a player from Vitality not even on the same page. He doesn't even know that that pass is going to come out. There's a flick from Metanoris in the midfield, cut out again by Team Vitality. It's looking better. They're getting bigger clears, but maybe Endpoint are just relaxed at this point. They just need to hold on for 43 seconds, Cole.
I mean, these clears are brilliant from Team Vitality, but they need themselves a goal. They need more ball possession. They have to have a player moving forward in the center, ready to do something with those passes. And it's looking more likely that Endpoint are going to nab this goal, even though Vitality have more of the play.
I mean, they're just playing slower as this game winds down, and then a free shot given to Seiko.
Another free shot given to Seiko. Team Vitality have to stop this. I mean, credit to Endpoint. They are finding their star man, and they're giving him the opportunities.
Of all players, though, why are you giving Seiko the free shot? That's the last one you want to give.
That's a question for Mao in between this game and going forwards. They have to find this because they are on the cusp of going 0-2 down in the series and potentially 0-2 down in the Swiss.
Oh,
but
no
maybe, Fairy Peak couldn't put it away. It was a great save from Seiko. He had no boost. What a read from Seiko, just to make sure there are no jitters at the end of that one.
And that would have been such a crucial goal, even if Vitality didn't take this game win from that goal. Just getting something for the road to get any energy moving forward would have been huge as we look at the replays. It was all Seiko. They were setting up their star striker, and Vitality had no answer.
Yeah, it's really good attacking there from Endpoint CEX. I mean, just the pace that they're showing, the infield passes that they've been doing all season, timing them really, really well. The decision-making on point. And look how much more relaxed they seem now in this LAN environment. And something else we can do in this LAN environment is listen to Orb.
What's going on, guys? It is an exciting day 2. Don't forget, guys, this is only day 2, and don't forget, this is series number 1. We got so much more in store for you guys. The question of the day is, the question right now is Endpoint going to secure this? Is Vitality going to fall behind CRO2? Only time will tell, but the beautiful thing about being here, I got the main stage behind the camera, and I'm standing in the Swiss Abyss, so we get even more action going on here in the B stream. So if we turn our camera here, we got Era and Complexity doing their thing. Currently, I've been told that Complexity is up 1-0. So the action is relentless over here. Don't forget, you got the B stream over at twitch.tv/RLEsports. And of course, you guys are already watching the main stream. So the 2 streams will last today and tomorrow. And then for playoffs, it will be strictly the A stream. But let's see. Can Endpoint close this one out? Guys, I'm throwing it back to you.
Team Vitality, one of the most famous names in all of RL esports. They have absolutely done it all. They've won world championships. They've been 1 goal away from winning a 2nd world championship in a row. The pressure that has been on these players' shoulders has been incredible over the seasons. But Turtle, does anything compare to this?
I don't think they're thinking about what they've won, what they've accomplished right now for Vitality. They are worried. They are stressed. You are down 2 games against Endpoint. It doesn't matter what you've accomplished previously in your career. All they're focused on right now is the fact that they're back on a LAN, and it's been 2 years. Of course, they want to win this one. They want to make it out of the Swiss stage, and you've only got 3 lives. Vitality have already lost 1 series, same as Endpoint, and they have 1 safety net remaining. You don't want to lose it here, Cole.
And as for Endpoint, they're purring now. Look at them, the passes. They're finding their target.
Absolutely.
Seiko there. He's always the first man, looking to get involved in the play, but he leaves it for a lating wave on that occasion, so Fairy Peak has to make a save at the post. And then look at the bumps as well coming out from Endpoint.
And we have seen a lot of bumps here against Team Vitality. If we're looking at FaZe Clan, they got, I believe, 15 demos, which is twice as many as Vitality, who only got, it's actually more. Vitality got 7 demos in their series against FaZe Clan, so the physical plays could be huge as that shot comes in from Seiko. We expect it, but surprisingly enough, Vitality has an answer, and they barely escape.
I mean, it was an in-and-out save from Alpha. Desperate times called for desperate measures there, and Alpha has the mechanics to do it. Vitality survived the first question, but again, look at the pass out from Relating Wave, back to Relating Wave, and then there's Metanorus to complete it, the 1-2. One of the best goals of the day so far, and it's Endpoint that score it.
It's so good. Look at the passing connection between Metza and Relating Wave on the LAN environment, and they know where each other are. They are feeling so confident right now against Team Vitality. It looks like we might get ourselves a sweep.
We may well do that, but Team Vitality can always come back. Endpoint, though, going to keep trying to turn that screw as Seiko has the ball, goes in for the challenge with K-Dop. Relating Wave is already there, but he's lost it. This might be going all the way in. It is! Ooh. It is! The quick turnaround, but Team Vitality need it.
And it's Alpha 54 yet again. Here he is off the side wall. He beats out Relating Wave, and that was a difficult read, but you still need to find some kind of a touch from Relating Wave. You don't want to blame that 3rd defender from Endpoint because you have to expect somebody to find a touch.
Perhaps just a little touch of overconfidence there from Endpoint, and that is the exact sort of thing that Vitality can punish. Here comes Alpha again from the kickoff. A kickoff comes in, it's 2-1 Vitality.
And this is ridiculous. Alpha 54, he was participating in 70% of the goals throughout the online season so far. And here he is again doing so much heavy lifting for Team Vitality.
It's a great kickoff as well. Alpha was so close to that one. He knew exactly where that ball was being put, and then he had the composure. Of course he did, just to see it away. This could be another chance. Very Peak, he gets the pass. It must be 3-1. They turn it around so quickly.
What happened?
You can ask all day long, is LAN experience a real thing? Do we perhaps blow it up as casters, as talent, as a community? This would be my evidence. It really is a thing.
And that's the best sign for Team Vitality, especially if you're a fan of them, because you want to see other players besides Alpha getting involved. Fairy Peak and K-Dop, they need to step up in these dire situations. There we see them finally finding some passes between each other and building on that chemistry.
Alpha sends it long. He'd love to get himself a third goal. Just to give Vitality 3 goals clearance. You can always come back from 2. You can still come back from 3, but right now, Vitality won't feel too comfortable, especially with the passes coming in like that. Alpha gets the save and pops it up for Fairy Peak. Suddenly, Team Vitality on the same wavelength. Just look at the defending and how they're finding each other.
And the way they're trying to move out of the defensive half with those little passes, it's starting to connect. Before, we didn't see that. Remember that touch from K-Dop that just went into the left-hand corner, and then Fairy Peak was nowhere to be found? Instead, Fairy Peak is taking that tight turn. I'm guessing the communication is on point for Vitality at this moment, and things are working.
There's Alpha around the corner. Look at him, he's getting so involved. The speed around the place!
Oh my.
Wow! What a recovery that was from Alpha.
Alpha 54, he just doesn't stop. He gets the 50-50 win and then uses the jump. You saw how he came off that sidewall. A lot of players would have just flipped into it using the momentum, but you lose so much control. Alpha 54, 4-1 for Endpoint.
I mean, Alpha is a player that was once touted as the best in the world, and that's why they're going to score a 5th, maybe. No, they couldn't. I mean, if Fairy Peak maybe had taken a touch, Relating Wave...
I'm getting out of breath here talking about Vitality.
I know, it's ridiculous. I mean, let's talk about Endpoint instead. As Seiko puts that one to the crossbar. This might be finding its way in. Metsanora sneaks it home, and Endpoint is still in this.
Here's the thing, Cole. We just passed the halfway mark in this game. It feels like we've been watching this for an eternity. That's how many goals we've seen so far. And this one, a bit of an anticlimactic one, but an important one as that one slowly falls in.
It sets up the rest of the game.
The next one's going to be a double
tap. They can't
maybe
all be bangers, all right? Not every player is Alpha. Not every player is Seiko. Sometimes just a clean finish into the corner is all you need. And for Endpoint, it is exactly what they did need. A tonic just to give them a shout at winning this game, securing themselves a sweep, because if they lose it, they're going to get real nervy out there on that stage. Here's Alpha trying to ensure they do. He dunks it downwards. Relating Wave can only send it towards Fairy Peak, who wants to jump off the wall, Devo-esque perhaps. Not quite able to get the angle, but Team Vitality have the pressure again. All
right, we've got 2 minutes left. Endpoint, they have their work cut out for them against Vitality, who are flowing, I wouldn't say flawlessly. There are a few mistakes here and there, but it is much more cleaned up than what we've saw or seen, actually, this entire tournament.
Yeah, this is the Vitality that we wanted to see. Just come out and just blitz their opponents. They showed it at times yesterday against FaZe, but nowhere near enough. This is a game where they're showing that they can still do it against, ultimately, Europe's #1 seed. They had a bad day yesterday at Endpoint, but they still are the best team in Europe, as proven over 3 different tournaments online. That's no mistake, and that is no joke. And right now, Vitality are taking them to the cleaners in this game.
I mean, Vitality, they're the reigning Season X champs.
Very true.
Endpoint, the reigning regional champs.
Very, very true.
How far does that confidence get you here on LAN? Metsanora off the backboard needs to do something for his defense. They do get the follow-ups, but nobody has enough boost, and here comes the counterattack from Vitality.
Oh, it's brilliant. Lovely pass from Alpha to Fairy Peak. Here comes K-Dop to finish it off, but what a save from Relating Wave. Fairy Peak's going to try and keep things going. Metsanora only as far as Alpha. He could end it here. He doesn't not quite able to get the ball around the corner, and now the fabled Endpoint counterattack. 50 seconds left and a couple of goals needed. They have to win these races, but Alpha, the speed that he showed.
That risky touch from Fairy Peak, he actually hit that off his own backboard, and it looked like it was going to be a pass straight to Endpoint, but he trusted Alpha 54 with the speed to get the clear.
One thing Team Vitality have been doing really well in this game, I know we've been talking about them in an attacking sense as Alpha goes for potentially a musty flick and can't quite get it. They're reading Endpoint's infield passes very well indeed. Just there, it looked like it was going to be Team Vitality 4, Endpoint CEX 3, but just they had 3 Vitality players in the center, just saying, yeah, pass it. Like, I'll just boom it away. It doesn't bother me at all. And since they've done that, Endpoint looks a bit blunt.
And how often have we seen that midfield pass and that strategy from Endpoint? Maybe Vitality's starting to pick it up. 10 seconds left. Maybe get one for the road, but Vitality want to keep this one going. 5-2, they don't stop.
Until this game, only Alpha had scored in the series, and he'd scored 2 in game 1. Now all 3 of them have scored. All 3 of the players getting themselves on the score sheet, just feeling that confidence, finding their way into this series, into this entire event. You know, we're still at the early days of this major, and this sort of performance, 5 goals against Endpoint, will just feel so good for them.
And I can't stress how important it is for players to see their name show up in just even a goal. It could be a free net, but that feels so good in this environment on LAN as Vitality take that game. And to see all 3 players from Vitality able to step up, see their name show up on the scoreboard with a goal, that means a lot going in here as they're going to need a reverse sweep against Endpoint.
It all started so well for Endpoint. Metanoris got himself their first goal in this game. They took the lead, but Team Vitality, it was a 1-2-3 blitz, the likes of which we haven't really seen from them so far. And suddenly they were looking like a team to be feared again.
I saw that passing play. As soon as I saw that, I thought we were done for Vitality, to be honest with you. So the fact that they could come back from a play that was that detrimental to your defense says a lot.
And what a goal it was from Alpha as well. Just round the corner. Such a difficult read. And to be able to know, 1, where the ball is going, and 2, have the mechanics and speed of thought to get there. Maybe the best goal of this tournament so far, arguably. It's certainly up there for me.
I think it's in terms of team, in terms of teamwork, I would say it's up there for sure. And now we take a look at Endpoint. They don't get to stretch. There's not enough time right now to stretch here, Cole.
If they want to stretch, Turtle, they will find a way to stretch. You know, Eclipse, you know, he gets what he wants, does the man, all right? He will yoink them off their computers and say, come on, we're doing some squats. But anyway, they need to do more than squats. They need to score some goals. And it could be Team Vitality scoring an early one. K-Dop's there. And he goes underneath Endpoint. The shouts are now coming out for Vitality.
Oh, yeah. You can hear the shouting, how emotional they're getting. And that one's got to feel great. Fairy Peak actually jumped up for it. That could have been a disastrous play. But now we can compliment their communication because Fairy Peak jumped up and then got called off on the shot. Vitality, even when they make mistakes, they can make up for it.
It would have been doubly disastrous as well, because I think if Fairy Peak had hit that, it would have been a free goal for Endpoint down the other end, which would have been devastating. But that is a free goal for Endpoint. Relating Wave equalizes.
All right, this whole entire game, this entire series, it's been an illusion. You see one team score first, and you think they have the momentum. No, the other one strikes back. Here's Relating Wave doing the exact same thing that Vitality did to them in the previous game.
It's my new conspiracy theory. There is no such thing as momentum.
Exactly.
Every single goal
it doesn't matter.
Exists in its own pocket of time and space. So let's see who's going to take this one as Relating Wave tries to beat Fairy Peak to the ball. Fairy Peak's showing really good speed right now. He is intercepting so much of Endpoint, and I think that's what's getting Team Vitality ticking.
You mean pre-jump peak?
Pre-jump peak.
That's what it was.
The
pre-jump peak.
Worst nickname ever. I'm shipping that. I love it.
Maybe we see it again. I would like to.
Yeah, I think it could be important for them. There's a really good read there from Alpha around the corner again. He is the master of these. Oh, no, it wasn't, sorry. It was K-Dop as well getting involved. Fairy Peak now on that same corner. He sends it long towards Metanoris. Just Endpoint just trying to get this ball away as well as they can. I think their boost management is... actually, they're doing okay. They've got more than I realized, so they can begin to start a counter-attack of their own. Here's Metza. He takes to the sky, wants to go solo. Taken out by K-Dop, but takes out K-Dop. That was bouncing awkwardly. Relating Wave almost gets in.
Now, here's the thing. What do Endpoint try and throw on the offensive side against Vitality's defense? The midfield passing, it was working great. In the early games, hold on a second, a shot coming through for Vitality, but as I was talking about Endpoint, what is the strategy they're going to implement? The midfield passes, it wasn't connecting as well because it was getting read by Vitality. They caught onto it, they've adapted. We need something else, a little extra spice out of that Endpoint offense.
Yeah, I mean, the first touch out into the corner is working really well, into the midfield. The second player is always getting the ball, but the one after that, that's the one that's being closed down, and that's the same thing that Renegades were doing against Endpoint yesterday. Chance for Relating Wave. Metanoris is there. Staco should be too far away to score this one. That was working so well for Renegades, where they were just letting Endpoint do that first pass, closing them down on the second. But this is where they're dangerous, when Staco has the ball and he can go solo.
And that is exactly who needs to step up. In moments like this, where your offense gets a little bit flat, you need Staco to come through with a double tap, any form of mechanics, something that can spice up that offense. Like I mentioned, they need it right now against Vitality, who is feeling hot.
Well, Metanoris is the one with control at the moment. He just sort of bumps it towards Relating Wave. K-Dop was waiting all the way, but the ball eludes him somewhat. Alpha with a great first touch. He's got a chance to chase this one. If he can get past Wave, he does. And the second touch as well. Who's flying in? No one now. Fairy Peak shows his composure to leave that one for a clearance because he knew that K-Dop was coming up. It's more good attack from Team Vitality, but now Endpoint come down the other end. Relating Wave, he has a pass in the center, leaves it to Mets. So Relating Wave staying back. Metanoris taking over. Now here comes Wave, and he picked up the boost as well. He went for the bump. That could have been devastating, but Fairy Peak saw it coming.
And we're talking about boost here. Whenever Vitality were up against FaZe Clan, it was Illusion who was taking so much boost. If you go back and look at the stats, Illusion had them beat by a landslide and boost stolen. Maybe somebody steps up from Endpoint and starts harassing that defensive side like Illusion.
This little attack here started from a beautiful Seiko touch when it looked like he was rotating out. Just got something on the ball to tee his teammates up, and now here he goes to the back wall. Metsonoris thinks better of going for that ball. Fairy Pick up against Metsonoris. Who wins this challenge? It's Fairy Pick. It's towards K-Dop. Is there an alpha-shaped car arriving in the center? Not quite now. He was a bit too close. And now Endpoint can boom it away. You sense that something is just beginning to brew in this fourth game.
It's scary because we've seen a lot of Endpoint offense, right, and possession here, but Vitality are holding strong on defense. So you think there's going to be a mistake where Vitality can get that counterattack all the way from their defensive end. But we have to remember that it's Vitality whose backs are against the wall. This is match point for Endpoint.
Doesn't feel like it, though. This feels completely even. If this was game one and both teams were starting it with full confidence, I wouldn't be too surprised to see this sort of gameplay. Actually, there's more pressure on Endpoint. Seiko, of all people, missing that clearance on the backboard. No one from Team Vitality read it at all, so it didn't lead to too many issues, but just another nervy sign from the youngster at his first LAN. Here's Alpha. He gets the flip reset. Relating wave into the corner. We heard an almighty shout. I wonder if there's been a goal over on the B stream.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was just somebody from Endpoint, you know, trying to hype him up. You never know.
Like, yeah, what a save. Oh, here we go. There's a shot from Metsonoris. And that is a brilliant save from Alpha with 45 seconds remaining.
Oh, maybe another flip reset. Alpha doing so much work. There's the follow-up. Hold on. This is just getting into very back and forth territory where one clear from one side goes all the way to the other, and we're just seeing it bounce back and forth off the backboard. The follow-up from Seiko. We needed to see him step up, and he answers the call with 32 seconds.
Metsonoris with the pass, with the demo, and then Seiko arriving. He hasn't had anywhere near as many free touches in that Vitality half in this game as he was earlier on, but all it takes is one. He was always scoring that one, and now Team Vitality, 30 seconds to chase. They've lost the kickoff. They have to get something with this ball now. They can't even get the ball at all. Seiko shoots. Seiko maybe kills it right there. It's 3-1.
That might be the final nail in the coffin. Seiko. This is why he was the top goal scorer for both regionals he won. He has that kind of an impact on the field. 3-1, Endpoint. It's match point. It looks like they're going to take it, but we can't count Vitality out.
No, not at all. All they need is one good kickoff, and maybe they give themselves just a sniff of equalizing. But Metsonoris getting involved yet again. His mechanics have improved so much this season. He's looking literally better than ever. And he's just not giving Vitality anything to work with.
Oh, not just this season, but also this LAN. We think about yesterday's performance from Metza. It was abysmal, to be honest with you. It didn't look great from him, but he stepped up. So did Seiko. So did Relating Wave. Everybody on Endpoint connecting on all cylinders, and they take the series win.
Not quite enough time for Seiko to get one more, but do you know what?
Where's the shouting?
I don't think he cares, because they have got their first LAN win. Seiko's first ever LAN. I mean, it's all new. It's a new RLCS LAN. It's a new experience for so many of these players, Endpoint included.